GM, the worst car company to ever exist on the face of the planet. Now, is it about the quality of their cars, the construction of their cars? No. It's about erasing, cheaply, might I add, not thousands, maybe hundreds of tens of years erased by General Motors. GM, they just won't stop buying car companies and making them go bankrupt. Or just completely erasing them like they did with Daewoo. You know? Woo, GM, you suck. Okay, so we're just gonna go down. You can see most of these are already dead. Yep. Well, I have Daewoo. This is an interesting one. I'll get back to that later. Really quickly, Saab. Yeah. So they bought this car company in 2000. And Saab in 2000, no, not Saab 2000. 2000 Saab. There we go. You can see Saab already had this. Don't attribute anything that Saab has today to General Motors. First of all, Saab already had the weird hatchbacks and the great wheel designs. They also had that nice front grille, right? They had their design going. Saab had everything going. Saab was a good car company. And then GM killed it. GM just, they needed a slice of the pie. And the worst part is, get to Holden in a minute. The worst part is GM doesn't want the car companies. GM doesn't want the car companies. GM just wants the money. That's why these go bankrupt so fast. GM doesn't give a fuck. GM couldn't care less. All they want is the money. The brilliantly innovative automotive division of the Swedish airplane company was bought by General Motors and then completely erased off the face of the planet when it wasn't profitable. That's what happened. GM, you suck. You cannot just keep buying car companies with years of heritage, with absolute years of heritage, and immediately wiping them off the face of the earth, wiping your ass with it, just because you want more money, because your cars suck. GM, your cars suck. They're not reliable, and no one wants them. These are just your crimes from the past. You're still doing this today. Okay, great. Let's look at another one. Holden was an Australian car company. You know, like one of their first ever car companies, you know. GM bought it in 1856, which, if you don't know, was a little while ago, and they bought it, I believe. Picturing GM bought it in 1926. From 1926 on, they did crap. They did, like, Holden did some great things. Holden made Utes. Holden made some fast cars. Holden was a good car company brand, right? And then GM ran it under the ground as soon as they couldn't squeeze it, right? The only reason Holden got these good cars is because the Australian car market is so different from ours here. The Holden. Okay, I'm going to talk about you in a minute. That's why I'm not going to click off of this. I'm going to talk about you in a minute. Yeah, so this was an actually good car company. Again, one of Australia's first car companies. GM just bought it, closed it immediately. You know, wasn't profitable. The end of the road today. No, GM is the end of everything if they just keep buying damn car brands. And then the saddest one. The absolute saddest one. Daewoo. The South Korean company became a GM subsidiary in 2001 and was renamed GM Korea 10 years later. That's right. A South Korean company was renamed GM Korea. If that's not wiping their heritage away, and trust me, I'm not being like it's wiping their heritage away. I'm being like, it actually is. Like, that is the name chosen by the founder. That'd be like if some new guy came into Toyota and called it Popflex or something. No, that sucks. GM North Korea, you can't just erase the entire car company. From 2005 was formerly sold in Europe as Daewoo's were renamed Chevrolets. So, not even were they lazy enough to take the Daewoo's and sell them in the US. No, they just slapped Chevy badges on them and said, it's American. Yeah, they suck. GM sucks. They, look. This car company, and I know it looks bad, right? But imagine in 2000, this could be like the Corolla. This car company actually doesn't look that bad. Ooh, the Matiz. You mean the Chevrolet Matiz? The funny thing about the Matiz is it actually grew up, this car grew up to be the Chevrolet Spark. Actually look it up. This thing went into the Aveo and then into the Spark. So that was fun. But yeah. So all of this, 1967. Also, no, Daewoo is not still making cars. In 2011, GM rebranded its North Korean operations as GM Korea. Right, you can't have a name of your own, you're just GM Korea. And phased out the Daewoo name that we phased out. No, we wiped the heritage of this company off its face because we want to sell our overbranded, overpriced crap. The Daewoo brand was replaced by Chevrolet. Really nice, great. And GM Korea's former Daewoo factories now produce Chevrolet and Buick models for domestic export sales. GM Korea also designs and manufactures many Chevrolet vehicles for global market. You can't just... instead of expanding their own car company to that extent where they can launch something in a different area, I get buying a car company that has leverage in that area, but that doesn't mean you wipe out that car company entirely and replace it with your own car company. It's still its own car company. And this is the saddest part. Kim Woo-chung, the son of I'm sorry, I can't read today, founded Daewoo Group in March 1967. Kim began as a fabric salesman who invented about 5,000 in textiles. Who invested about $5,000 in a textiles company to start Daewoo. His work that he put into this, probably worrying about it, sleeping, being like, oh, is this going to go through? It's all ruined by GM, Oh, yay, we bought it. Yay. Now, okay, right, GM. Yeah, no, you're not gonna. The Buick Encore, the Chevrolet Trax, the Opel Mokka, the Vauxhall Mokka, and the Vauxhall Trax. Yep. Nope, the Holden Trax. Sorry, again, of course Holden stayed long enough for them to bring this shitty SUV. If you don't know, this is their shitty SUV, this piece of shit that they just market everywhere and hope that it sticks. See, it is a Buick Encore. It's a Buick Encore. It's all of these cars, and they're all terrible. Now, with some car companies, they got it right. They're like, we made this car, we're proud of it, so we want to sell it as our other car company, like with Toyota. All their cars are good for the most part. Oh yeah, by the way, Chevrolet Cruze, Holden Cruze, slick. No one can tell GM. No one had the slightest of idea, right? They suck. These cars just suck. They're small, they're ugly, and everyone knows it's GM. And everyone knowing it's GM is the worst possible crime, because it just sucks. And look, they had a special, how cars have special paint colors, like Toyota has Blueprint, and that gray Storm Cloud one, and then the bronze oxide. They are shameless enough to take Buick's special orange, right? This was the special orange for this car if you bought it in a Buick. It wasn't available in anything else. And then slap it onto the Opel for foreign markets. When Toyota makes a special color for a car, it is for marketing, but it's also to accentuate the car in that specific thing. There's got to be something separating the two brands apart. It can't be the same shit all around. You have to at least introduce something new, right? So they did this styling, right? And they made it orange, and they're like, orange is a very nice car. It complements the car well. We're gonna sell that. And imagine if Toyota did that with all of their foreign cars. It's not special anymore, right? And they now, when they awfully rebrand something, they usually have the decency to redo the front. You see, this GMC is the square front, and this thing has the beak front, because this is a a boom boom Chevrolet, and this is a woo tough as nails GMC. They both suck. I've driven both of these. They both suck. The Chevrolet is infinitely better, but they both suck. That's all scratchy. That's all scratchy. That shines in your face when you're driving, and this crap peels so fast it comes off. You scratch it, and it's painted plastic. And do they even care? Like, Toyota recalled well, they didn't recall it, but they gave out a buyer's warning when they did that, and no. And then when they wanted to, instead of have a touchscreen, do like the cheaper way of doing it with the ding-da-ding, they just stuck it in the middle there. They didn't even shift the buttons around. Like, here's what it looked like before, and then here's what it looked like after. They just stuck a disc in there. Like, really? GM? You care that you care that little. You really don't give a shit, do you? I feel like Amber Heard talking to Johnny right now, but good lord. GM is just awful. We'll get to that in a minute, right? They actually made 2 models so that they didn't have to redo the front. Well, 3, right? The Chevrolet Trax is like the only car company that still sells, so that got its own face. And then, from that moment on, there were 2 versions you could get in your market. You could either get this one with the tail lamp, with the headlamps that look like that, which was the... Here, I'll just get the sheet with all of them. Yeah, so you can see there's... Oh, no, this is the older model when the screens look like that. So they did actually make a difference. So you can see blatantly, these 2 are the same. This is back when GM still cared, right? Like, this one at least doesn't have the 3 holes going down the roof as this one. You know, this one has fog lights with the thing in that. That doesn't have the thing in that. You know, they made some progress in making sure that they didn't look the exact same, although they stuck with the same wheels and same everything, right? And then all these 3 were the same. And then from that moment on, you could either get this one with the spiky headlights, like the grrr, or you could get, you know, this is like, again, another version of it. This is the Opel Mokka X. Great. Or you could get this one with the white bar on the bottom, and then this thing, you can see it was also used for the Opel and for Buick. Is that a Buick? No, that's a Vauxhall. Which one's a Buick? See, I actually can't tell. That says something. That's worth something. Yeah. Essentially, the main reason why all these cars failed is because no one likes GM. They know their cars. Everybody knows GM's cars. No matter what brand they could call it the Doogie Howser Mobile, and it comes with free DVDs. And even the people that like the show wouldn't buy it because they know it's just a bunch of rebranded GM crap. No one likes GM anymore. You just buy it if you think you're American, and if you buy it because you think you're American, Chrysler, Ford is like the only decent American car company in my history. Like, oh, well, the Pinto exploded. At least they didn't erase years of heritage from different companies. And here's a good example of rebranding done amazingly, right? See, Ford has properness to it, right? They sell cheap cars, right? They sell usually cheap, affordable cars. The Ford Focus is no different, right? So when they bought Volvo, a luxury Swedish brand, unlike GM, where they would just put the tiny little glass orb under their feet and smash it to death, they were like, we want to respect you, right? So you are profitable, very profitable currently. We don't want to change that, but we're not going to force you, for the most part, right now, to do anything you don't want to do. So you can choose if you want to pick up our models. We are going to do some things on the frames that you use, right? But it should be good, right? So they had a good partnership, right? Ford respected Volvo. Ford didn't see it as, Fords are the only good thing. And I guarantee you, right, Daewoo not being an American company had something to do with it. I bet just because it was Korean, that's exactly why they rebranded it as GM Korea. I bet if it was like they bought Ford, they wouldn't rebrand it as GM America. Well, it's already there. They wouldn't rebrand it. Oh my god. Oh my god. Even Opel even Daewoo got one? GM. Oh my god. You need help. You need help. A dead car company? You brought back the Daewoo name. You're telling me, instead of GM Korea, You specifically brought back the Daewoo name just so that you could rebrand that car one more time. One more variant, please. GM, you suck. Really quickly, onto the actual good car company, and this is why I respect Ford more than GM. If I bought a Ford, I wouldn't destroy it. If I bought a Ford, I wouldn't destroy it. If I bought a GM, I'd burn it to the ground, right? Still, look, so see this cheap car? Volvo was like, hey, we're in the hybrid era, we need a hybrid, not a hybrid, and that's a small car. Now, instead of being like GM, where they would just slap a Volvo logo on that, maybe get rid of the silver and put one of those in, just maybe put some fog lights down there. Yep, we're good. Got it, Volvo. No. They let Volvo actually design it. Ah, look at that. You would have no idea it was a Ford. Look at that. Well, not that. Look at that. It even has the Volvo features. And it's not the same interior. That's right. It has the same dimensions without being the same interior. Like here, look at both of these. Can I find one that's not granulated? There we go. So see, look, they're the same interior. They are blatantly the same interior. Like if you really know what to look for, look. This part down here is exactly as wide as this part down here. This fold right here in the dashboard is the exact same fold right here. And you can tell because the way the car was made, you had some extra space up here, so that let them do the reclining screen trick instead of this. So, and the vents on this car are exactly where the vents are on the Ford. That's right. Volvo, you are sleek. I mean, look at this. And Volvo didn't get shamed. Like, I imagine some of the employees that worked at Daewoo were happy. They were working for an independent car company, got bought out by GM, and then were feeling shame to work for such a shitty company, right? But yeah, look, so this was an actual good car. We got good cars out of this. That looks beautiful. That looks like a Volvo. And this still looks like a Ford. Instead of looking like, you want to know what? In GM doing so much rebranding, their cars don't look like Chevrolets anymore. This is the biggest problem with everything. This is the problem with this car company, right? No matter what they do, they have already made it so that when I see this car, I don't think Buick, I think GM. When I see this car, I think GM. When I see these two cars, I think GM. When I see that, I think GM. When I see that, I think GM. I'm thinking GM right now. I don't see any of the brands. I don't see Opel. I don't see Vauxhall. I don't see Buick. I don't see Cadillac. I bet they had a Cadillac version, and I bet it was just as crappy. I just see GM. Same, like when they do this crap, when they rebrand the Holden Cruise. Come on, you bastards. The Holden Cruise, they debuted the Holden Cruise. Wow, oh, it's a brand new car. I love my Holden Cruise. When they do this, their cars don't look like cars anymore. They just look like GM. And that's about the worst thing you can say about someone, is that they look like GM, right? And Mary Barra may think it's okay, but I'm sure the founders of most of these companies don't. And you may say, well, the companies were in a rough place. They needed to be bought out. They didn't need to be erased off the face of the planet. That wasn't what they need. And most of these ended up going bankrupt anyway. I mean, GM did nothing. GM did nothing. So, as always, thank you for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And if you buy a GM vehicle, I want to yell at you.